We're gonna call this meeting to order at 5:30. Any adjustments to the agenda?
I just have one item, number 7, highway report table, please.
Okay. All right, select board announcements.
Okay, I have a bunch here. So the Comprehensive Village Plan Project, the Putney Planning Commission, they're doing 2 design workshops. They're calling it part 1, part 2. I don't know if they're going to be different. Well, actually they are. One's called Share, Listen, and Reflect. That's the first one. And the other one's called Designing Our Village. So the first one is June 11th, which is tomorrow, 6:30 to 8 p.m. at Next Stage Arts. And the next one is June 13th, which is Saturday, 10 to noon at Putney Central School. And I know that they're trying to get as many people to come from the community as possible because it's a community project. And there's VLCT events. Some of them have already passed. There's attorney office hours tomorrow from 12 to 1, if you want to do that. Advocacy wrap-up chat, that's the 15th. Those could be fun. That's VLCT talking about bills that have been passed or not passed. Effective BCA property tax appeal hearings on the 17th for people who, for the select board. If you haven't been to a BCA hearing, or even if you have, that's a good training to go to. The 22nd is the special meeting of the membership, which Logan is going to, I think. 23rd is governing all the skill roundtable. And the 26th is the local officials golf outing at the Green Mountain National Golf Club course in Killington from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you golf, you can go. Even if you don't golf, you can probably go. They probably don't care. And then there was also a Windham Regional Commission has a workshop called What Can Towns Do to Support More Housing? Has been rescheduled to next Wednesday, June 17th at 6 p.m. It's on Zoom. You can probably find it on their website. And that's all I got.
Look at this letter.
Oh, the letter. Just want to read that? You want me to read it?
Sure, Bex.
Bex, you want to read it?
Letter.
Which letter are you speaking?
It's the,
Oh, yeah. Alright. Safety issues on Kimball Hill Road. As a frequent visitor to Vermont, I certainly enjoy the Charm, First Stage, and Puppet Theater, and the Putney Diner. Putney is also a frequent stop as I stay in a local Airbnbs to enjoy them all or take a walk in the woods. I often stop on my way up further north where my family is from. The issue I have is the traffic on Kimball Hill Road. Cars and trucks race up the road, and since there are no speed limit signs, many are speeding while children and patrons of the restaurant and theater are trying to cross the road. There are no signs at the crosswalks, and the paint lines need to be painted. Cars and trucks need to slow down, and speed signs need to be posted. With the activity on this road, particularly in the summer, it should be much safer for both pedestrians, bikes, and children on their way. Many walk to the theater. You have a wonderful town and community. Please keep it safe. Sincerely, Ann Hunter of Stonington, Connecticut.
So, I think it should be on an agenda. at
Yeah,
some
sounds
point.
like it should.
There is a question about a crosswalk on top of Kimball Hill that hasn't been addressed yet
the one next
by
to,
Putney Cares.
yeah, next to Frost Road.
And there is,
We've talked about that.
We did talk about it and it hasn't moved forward. So I think we need to put Kimball Hill back on the agenda
Sounds good.
for further discussion and bring in the highway superintendent.
There are speed limit signs, but they're like way up the hill. So,
Yeah, but the road condition, we
yeah.
need to look at all of it. So I will note that for a future agenda.
Okay.
All right.
Carolyn?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Public comment?
In just a second. Is that everything you got?
Yep.
Okay. Any public comments on select board announcements? Mr. Fairman.
I was commenting on the letter that Bex read. Okay, the writer is correct that people speed up and down Kimball Hill and Westminster Road. There are speed limits posted. There's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit posted coming this way, just beyond Sand Hill Road, coming this way. And of course, in the village, the 30-mile-an-hour limits are posted at both ends. So that, I believe, is all that is required there. I didn't note the date on that letter, but the state repainted the crosswalks out here maybe 2 weeks ago. And I guess we haven't done ours yet. As far as signs there, that goes back to when we did the crosswalk down at Putney Meadows. I checked that the signs here are as they are supposed to be. So, in a sense, what we're looking at maybe is, as always, more enforcement.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Public comments on items not on the agenda. Swift?
I just wanted to share my understanding of the village plan. What's it called, the village plan? Because it was described to me in a very
Comprehensive village plan.
Comprehensive Village Plan Project.
When Vanessa and Sue have spoken about it, they said the first one is much more like presentation and learning, and the second one is like interactive and doing and like dividing into groups. So if you're curious about the two, that for me was like, ooh, the second one might be fun. To like really get going and thinking and making projects, taking it into action. Is my understanding of the one on the 13th. Well, that's all.
Thank you. Laura?
I just wanted to read into the record a post that was made on our local I Love Putney, Vermont group, which is on Facebook, and not everybody's on Facebook, but it feels important that the community hears this. This was posted by Nathaniel J. Lee, who was a once-time resident of Putney and has moved back. At around 8:30 p.m. on Friday, June 5th, my wife, her friend, and I were walking our dogs in the soccer field at Putney Central School when a car drove by and someone yelled the F word, the U, the N word. Having just moved to the neighborhood, we were shocked, but perhaps not surprised. This wasn't a beat-up old truck. This was a newer, possibly Subaru. These were young people in the car. This is a painful and honestly heartbreaking, I think that was a little bit of a typo, so like moment or experience. And I share this to remind us all that these things still happen in our communities and are a part of why it's really important that we do work to try and make sure that we're setting systems in place that help them not to happen, or at least to give people recourse when they happen. And then I have another comment that's related to the Equity and Inclusion Committee, and I'm not sure if I should make it here, or I believe it's on the agenda. I'm sorry, I'm just coming from running. So would you like me to share that now, or would you like me to hold it until later in the agenda?
If it's on the agenda, we can hold it.
Well, the Equity and Inclusion Committee is on the agenda, I believe.
Yeah.
But not this piece.
It's okay.
This is a statement. Is it the statement, Laura?
No, I
I'm
think
sorry.
it's something about, I think it's about
No,
something
I
else.
have a separate.
That's next.
A separate thing that I want
Alright,
to just bring
sorry.
forward. So, we accidentally broke the open meeting law as a committee, and I just want to name that. We are taking steps to correct it so that it never happens again. We had a text string going that was supposed to be about scheduling. We had a member that kept adding discussion and questions to it. Because we were all on it, whether we responded or not, we broke open meeting law. We will put those comments into our next meeting minutes, and we've asked Eileen to come and give an open meeting law crash course to the committee.
Okay.
So VLCT has training for open meeting law and as members. of the committee. We can also have them come down.
That would be great. I think
do it
Ms. Slick may want
in-house.
to speak to this, but we've asked, like, I've been in 2 meetings now where we've discussed this and asked people to go and look that information up, because it is readily available. And I'm not sure if that's not happening, or if it's not being retained or fully understood, but here we are.
Okay.
I agreed to give a talk on open meeting law, so.
Well, having the LCT come down, you
Yeah.
do it at the fire station, you
Yeah.
invite other towns,
Yeah,
you know, and that
Yeah.
way we're not just singled out.
no, yeah, but also, and that's great, but if they're at a meeting already, like an already scheduled meeting, it might, it just reinforces it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. So,
we keep talking about onboarding, new
right.
committee members, and I think we've sort of fallen off the,
Well, it's not like we, don't have busy schedules already. But we can inquire.
Yep.
All right.
Swift.
I was just gonna add a comment about the first thing that Laura said, and a reminder that you folks tasked us with, I think it must have been 2 years ago, with creating an emergency anti-bias action plan. So when bias-related incidents happen, we jump into action and not in reaction. We already have something that can, a set sort of flow of what happens when those things happen in our town. So a reminder that that is on our list of things, and we will be doing it in moments like this. Remind us to bring it to the top of the list sooner rather than later. So thank you. And also wanted to say that often we've made statements or actions in response to that. When we reached out, I reached out, I think you reached out as well, that wasn't asked for. So we're following the family's guidance of we're not gonna do something they're not asking for us, but just bringing it here, awareness. Thanks.
Thank you. Next.
Just want to say thanks for being so transparent and asking for additional training. I think that's really lovely.
All right, moving on. Approval of minutes from May 27th.
I move to approve the minutes of May 27th.
Second.
Excuse me. They look fine to me.
Same.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, warrants to the treasurer.
I move to approve and execute the warrants to the treasurer upon completion of review.
Second.
Karen?
Payroll warrant dated June 12, 2026, in the amount of $20,419.63. I do want to report fire and rescue. The fire department responded to more calls than EMS in the last 2 weeks.
Oh?
Yeah.
Is that the first time ever?
Yeah, that I've noticed, yes. So,
Do we know what they were? Were they like,
well, I think Eric can respond to that, right?
I don't have them right here in front of me.
Yeah, I know.
There's a bunch.
Yeah.
Different things. We were over at the mill. As a lot of people probably know.
yeah,
And just little other things, car accidents,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Some mutual aid.
okay.
Accounts payable, May 30th through June 12th, 2026, in the amount of $92,008.52. Green Mountain Power, electrical bills are in here. Allen Engineering is chemicals for treatment plant and for the pool. We do have some prepaids for next year.
Okay.
But nothing unusual. We did have 2 assessing bills from New England Municipal Consultants. They had the wrong email, so they're just
Oh, there's
catching
2 of them,
up.
I see.
Yes, but we have corrected that.
Okay. Looks good to me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, boards, committees, commissions.
This town.
Oh, town
this town
manager's
report.
report, sorry, you just want to scratch the highway report, not your whole report.
Yeah, come on now. I met with the stormwater mitigation team on Monday. They're almost complete with their site visits around Putney. Their work entailed identifying and assessing possible locations for new stormwater practices in Putney. We do have a significant bank erosion down by the wastewater treatment plant. That has been identified, they've looked at it, it is on the list, which is a good thing, because it's been happening over time. And if we lose that bank, it's gonna be a problem. So I will report to the select board when that report comes in. So we completed a site visit yesterday on Sam Hill with Daniel Judkins. He's with VTrans, he's a project specialist, and Elise Grout, who's a specialist with Grants and Aid. Lenny Howard, Ann Carey, Mary Quinn, Kurt Sorensen, who's the new member of the Wetlands Committee, and Mr. Fairman were there. There was a question about whether the road was getting wider for maintenance. Daniel inspected with us, gave us some recommendations. The first was to have a survey completed of the road, to have a base survey moving forward. So that way you got measurements. I think we might already have that in a file.
To see if it's getting wider.
Well, from the original when the
Yeah.
road was in,
Yeah.
because all of our roads have measurements, even when they go back to 1800s.
Cool.
So I'm gonna look for that. We'll work with the state anyway, but they do recommend a survey. They're gonna write a report as well. Also, the bridge is not wide enough for that road, so it's undersized. I am going to recommend to the board again and stress the importance of revisiting the Fitzgerald Environmental Associates study that was completed June 10th, 2024. There are options there. That bridge on Sand Hill will need some work right now. Scott Jensen, I met with him this week in my office. He feels getting a contractor through bid process, obviously. You have to get the right contractor that can work within the brook. But one of the abutments has been scoured, so it needs to be filled in with concrete. But it's not gonna be a cheap fix. So if we know the bridge is not wide right now, putting in 65,000 to 100 to fix an abutment, we gotta look at all the options. So that report, going back to that report, is gonna be important.
I'm in favor of that.
Okay. So we will have more from that visit. There is grant money from VTrans and from Grants and Aid that can help with some of that work. Even what was identified in the report.
Okay.
So we have to be strategic about Sand Hill and how to move forward. The pool is full of water.
Good.
So Joe had to drain it to clean all the leaves out. So we'll have a small work crew on Sunday to start preparing for opening, which is next week. PCS would like to have their pool party there on Wednesday the 17th. The pool will officially open on June 20th, which is Saturday for the season. Joe's had to get some parts for the pump house, so we're hoping to start the pumps up tomorrow, get the pool clean. But it's not far off where it can be accessible.
Cool.
And swim lessons online are open at this point, so for the public.
That's what I heard.
Virtual swim lessons.
So swim lesson
We learned a lot of things from COVID.
Registration is open at this point and it's online on the website, so.
The actual swimming happens in
Yeah.
water.
Yep. So anyone interested, go to the town website. And that's all I have for right now. I have more, but I just didn't have time.
Okay. Public comment on the town manager's report. Mr. Fairman.
Mr. Chairman, coming back to the box culvert on the Sand Hill Road Causeway, yes, it is 16 feet wide at the moment, and the road is 22 feet wide. This is actually traffic calming, which may be a good idea, because when pedestrians are down there, as there are no shoulders, if two vehicles are passing at good speed, what does a pedestrian do?
Jump.
So the question is jump where? So, and there is no place to jump. So I'm going to be suggesting from now on that we might want to consider perhaps repairing the box culvert, but leave it the width it is, because this is traffic calming, and this is in no sense a main road in the town of Putney. The speed limit is 25. Yes, large vehicles go through there on occasion, but it is not heavily trafficked, and it is not intended to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on the town manager's report? Okay. Boards, committees, commissions, Equity and Inclusion Committee.
Turn that back over.
I was gonna let it run out.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I've got
I
my.
don't have the agenda in front of me. Are we starting with the memo first? Is that? Or the members?
The first one is the alternate
Alternate
appointments, so.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Alternate appointments.
So we have got 2 letters sent to Karen for 2 different alternates. One for Sophie Clough and another for Bennett Smart. What's his last name?
Sour.
Thank you. Yeah.
My brain just went, Bennett Sour.
Sour, sorry, I was trying to read up there. Sorry, Bennett. They're both here. I think they're virtual. And they've both written letters to you folks. They will be alternates as the committee is over. We don't have any alternates, but we have alternates for.
Do we need to read the letters?
If you want them on record.
I guess, all right, I'll read. Okay, so the first one's an email from Bennett. And it says, "Hi Karen, I'm writing to ask to be considered as an alternate for the DEI committee. Please let me know if there is other information you need from me." That's one. The other one is from Sophie, and it starts with, "Dear members of the Select Board and Equity and Inclusion Advisory Committee. I have been a resident of Putney for 8 years, worked or wandered around the village for the majority of that time, and as many people experience in a small town, cannot walk into an establishment on a Saturday without knowing the names of at least 3 people there. I'm interested in joining the Equity and Inclusion Advisory Committee because despite spending most of my childhood only 45 minutes away from my current home, that area was a stark contrast, and I value the subtle but monumental differences in Putney. My mother is half Filipino and to my knowledge has never experienced any severe discrimination over this, but she has been isolated. It's one thing to acknowledge that she was a woman of color in America's whitest state, surrounded by Wilmington's 99.7% white population. It was another to see her visibly standing out from the other moms when picking us up from school. There was no real space to discuss race-related issues outside of educating her children because no one else had a serious interest in creating one. I do not see things like this happening without comment at Putney Central, despite it being only slightly more diverse. Instead, children and parents are encouraged to speak about their experiences, their differences, and how we handle them as a community. My mother is happier, more connected, and able to advocate for herself not only as an individual working within and beside the education system, but as part of a larger group within the world. Of course, race is not the only reason I want to join this committee. It is not an aspect of my life that I wear obviously on my skin, and I therefore have the privilege of not thinking about it as something actively to me in my pursuits. That being said, it was the potential to be disadvantageous for the people I care about and continue to meet, my family included. So while not my main focus, it is something I take into heavy consideration. I believe the best thing about Putney is the encouragement given for everyone to take part in something in some way. I have been offered jobs by relative strangers, gotten to know those strangers, and then been given more opportunities by them, now good friends, that introduced me to even more people. That is, in fact, how I first became aware and interested in applying to this position. Repeatedly, I am reminded of how integral interconnectivity is for each person to thrive. I must admit that I am very young and almost obnoxiously optimistic, but I love it here. My age means that is the strongest trait I bring to this position. I have lifeguarded, babysat, served at the Putney Diner, and served as well on BUHS's Student Advisory Committee alongside members of the school board. Although only the very last relates directly to my capability as a member, I feel as though each of these roles have allowed me to grow and contribute in some way, and I am very comfortable within this town and the surrounding area. I also plan to stick around for a while and have no issue committing to at least a year on this committee if accepted. My family is supported by this town, and if given the opportunity, I would like to do the same for others. Not just around my accumulated odd jobs and the connections I make through chance alone, but as an active, conscious contributor. Thank you for your consideration, Sophia Clough.
Thank you.
They're both online.
Do either of Sophie or Bennett want to say anything else?
That might be enough.
Okay.
Okay.
We need to vote on that?
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
So I move to appoint Bennett Sauer and Sophia Clough to the Equity and Inclusion Advisory Committee as alternates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, you're on board. Haha.
Thank you.
And apparently we're getting more bags, but they're not in yet, right?
The
So
list is getting longer.
you each get a bag at some
It's good
point.
news.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our second agenda item is, I think this was on the agenda back in a year ago. So we are we've looped back and ping-ponged back and forth a bunch, but this is the final draft of the memo for the recommendations and requests. I guess it's instructions on how to interface with immigrations enforcement if they came into a town building or into a job site. And it's basically, this is a draft of a memo from Karen to her employees, and that how to interface with that agency was present. I can read it if I need to. It's very long, but I can. And also it's based on what other municipalities and businesses are doing. And it's pretty basic. It's saying, don't really do anything until you get legal counsel advice or talk to the town manager.
Right.
Can folks find this on the website?
They will once you.
And it was in the packet, right? Online?
Yes.
Okay. But
Yes,
online.
it's on, yeah, it's in the packet online. I also had legal counsel review this, and the small changes that are in here, were provided by legal counsel, so, and they're minimal.
Okay.
So I'm okay with it.
Okay, any public comment on the internal town memo?
Just thank you for your patience and thank you for giving clear guidance to your employees. For something that can feel scary and complicated. And it feels important that it comes from our leadership, so thank you.
Okay, we need a motion. We got a
Yeah,
motion.
I do have one. I move that the select board endorse the internal memorandum named Guidance Regarding Fair and Impartial Policing and Interactions with Federal Immigration Agencies as recommended by the Equity and Inclusion Advisory Committee and further reviewed by legal counsel.
I second all of that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, Rescue Inc. report. Jeanette,
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm going to sit.
you can just state your name, I forgot.
Hmm?
State your name.
I will, yes. Thank you, Jeanette White, resident of Putney. So I'm going to give you just a little report. I'm sorry Logan isn't here, but I know he is familiar with rescue anyway, but, and I don't have statistics because they're just in the process of compiling the statistics. So at the next meeting that I give a report to you, I will have some statistics, but I just wanted to give you an overview. So rescue, and I just had my eyes dilated a little while ago, so if I stumble, it's because I can't see. Rescue Inc. was established in 1966 to serve member towns. It is a regional nonprofit. There are other types of services around the state. Some are all volunteer, some rely solely on their one town for support, but all are facing uncertainty. Rescue Inc. has member towns, each with a representative on the board. Its success, in large part, is due in large part because of the successful cooperation of local fire departments for first response and for the tech teams. So here's a brief down of some of the services that we receive as members of Rescue. So the 911 calls. Rescue has a station in Brattleboro and one in West Townsend. There are 10 ambulances that are licensed in Vermont and New Hampshire. Chesterfield and Hinsdale are members. And they are all staffed at the paramedic level. There are 86 licensed staff members at Rescue. They have a tiered response system using the most appropriate response in the right situation. These are now the services that are provided beyond the what we think of as 911 ambulance service. Interfacility transfer. These transfers, they transfer patients with both basic and critical conditions from hospital to hospital. This can be at the request of the hospital, other providers, or the individual patient. The technical rescue teams, and if you don't know anything about these, you should go on the website and look at the technical rescue teams. They're all volunteers, and they're made up of rescue personnel, local firefighters, and other volunteers. Each team usually consists of first responders, EMTs, and paramedics. They are highly trained and are nationally certified. The situations they cover are these: swift water, high and low angle ropes, cold water, ice, boat teams, search and rescue, drone search and thermal recon, flood response, incident and search management, off-road, confined space, and wilderness. And there is no charge to the member towns for these tech teams' services. They provide standby services. Large events may require ambulances and personnel to stand by for unanticipated events such as sporting events, parades, concerts, graduations, fairs, etc. They have a couple special programs. One is with the Brattleboro Retreat, that they transport patients from every hospital in the state to the retreat for specialized mental health treatment, thus minimizing the overcrowding of hospital ERs due to lack of specialized services. This has been a huge benefit to the hospitals around the state, who often see people laying in their ERs for days because they don't have the specialized services. And then Mobile Integrated Health, in cooperation with Brattleboro Memorial Hospital and Grace Cottage and primary care providers,
Pre- and post-hospitalization services are provided at home, thus preventing necessary hospital ER visits and re-hospitalizations. The child seat safety, in cooperation with the governor's highway safety program, child's car seats and inspections are provided. Financial assistance, I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. So town members, as you know, are assessed per population. And the rescue board works really hard to keep this assessment low, knowing that towns are already stressed. Insurances are billed whenever possible. When there are charges beyond insurance, there's a voluntary subscription program, and I want to just emphasize that. This subscription program is a safety net for those who subscribe. It costs $100 a year for a family, and it allows services to that family without being billed. Sometimes your insurance won't cover the whole bill, and you could be billed for the remaining amount. If you're a subscriber, for $100 a year, your entire family is covered. And believe me, we've made use of that, as Eric knows. I will also say that they have to do fundraising because they're a nonprofit and because the assessment to the town simply doesn't cover the cost. So there is a golf tournament on September 5th. It's in September. It's the you can go on the rescue and find out the information. But if you're a golfer, you can go to. It's at the Brattleboro Country Club. I'm not a golfer, but I'm pushing it anyway because they need to raise the money. So VEMSA is the Vermont EMS Academy, and it was started by Rescue in 2022 to offer more training options to EMS and healthcare professionals. It is the only fully nationally certified entity in the state to provide every level of EMS certification. Classes are held at VEMSA in Newfane and in Waterbury. It also has a fully simulated mobile classroom that allows training to be held in different communities. In collaboration with Norwich University, it allows students to receive a bachelor's in public health. It is also a Pearson testing site for other professions, such as plumbers or HVAC workers, teacher, I don't know who all, but there's about 20 professions that can be tested at a Pearson site there. I'm going to give you an example of how well received and how recognized VEMSA, the training at VEMSA is. They just graduated. First of all, there's no certification, no licensure requirements for somebody to teach in Vermont. You just have, if you're a paramedic, you can teach. You can offer classes and teach. You're right, it doesn't make any sense, and we're working on that one for next year. But, so VEMSA just graduated a class, and they had 100% pass on their first try. There was another person, and I won't say where, who offered classes, it wasn't around here, who offered classes in Vermont, and they had a 0% pass rate on their first attempt. So you really need to be careful who you're getting your training from. It responded to a call from the state to set up COVID vaccination clinics and did them in every county of the state. And while hoping there is no need, we are hearing rumblings now, and so they are currently making emergency plans if we should have another pandemic of any sort. It is the certified state flood response team and has responded to floods and emergencies all over the state and in other states. I'm just going to tell you about a couple changes here. The world is changing for the entire EMS system. New federal regulations, decreased funding from federal sources, additional requirements for licensure. These are just some of the changes. A comprehensive report was commissioned by the EMS State Advisory Committee, and it is publicly available. The state is divided into 13 EMS regions, and each region has a member on that board, and then there are some other members in addition. The board will be making recommendations to the legislature in January based on the findings in that report. One of the looming issues will be more training and certification requirements for each level of EMS provider. That is coming down through the federal government. While some feel this will reduce the number of volunteers, there is some effort to the contrary. Examples are the tech teams. They are all volunteers, and they seem to belie this belief. They are highly trained and willingly receive that training and often ask for more. The theory is that a poorly trained person may be reluctant to enter a situation where they feel apprehensive and not quite qualified to do. But a well-trained person will be more confident in the situation and more willing to participate. This certainly is true of the tech teams, and we see it among other volunteers. As there are new requirements and less funding, we need to be aware and supportive of requests for whatever changes our state can make that will help all of our EMS services, not just rescue, but access around the state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Any public comment on the Rescue Inc. report? Okay. Selectboard New Business. Boundary survey for the town hall property.
So Mr. Tom Wagner is here. He is a licensed surveyor and he performed a boundary.
Oh, you have a big copy, good.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Been working on this for quite some time. And
Where did Peter Shumlin?
He didn't realize that this was a regular meeting, that he thought it was just gonna be about the survey, and he had to be at someplace else
All right.
at 6 o'clock.
Well,
So-
that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I want, if possible, we could give him a copy
Sure,
of the plan.
sure.
Let's see.
Here's the-
You just state your name.
Thomas Wagner, land surveyor. I'm licensed in Vermont and Massachusetts. I've been working on this project for about a year now. And there was quite a bit involved. You've got two outstanding issues as I see it. Your western boundary, have you all seen a copy of the plan?
Yes.
I know I sent you
it's very
electronic
small,
copy.
but
There's a bigger
Yeah.
one right here.
Okay, well, so this is an oversized one if you wanted to put it up on the wall somewhere. My next step is to get this to your design team so that it's essentially the same as what's on, that they have on the plan drawn in as the boundary,
Yes.
based on the 1986 Southern Vermont Engineering's plan.
Yeah.
And essentially I did a retracement of that survey that the town commissioned in 1986. And it came to the attention then that your western boundary was described in 1871 as being 4 feet off the town horse shed. And we believe, aerial photographs that show that. USDA photographs from 1941 show a building there that makes sense for the horse shed. That I'm a little dubious about that, simply the scale of taking older photographs like that and trying to. But it's already, you already have a copy of that, that's already been talked about. My suggestion would be that you make a boundary line agreement that with the abutter in regards to that. It has been proposed for so long now that it's really become the boundary. I mean, there's been no other effort to change it. I'm going to mark it with pins on the ground so that you'll know where it is.
so 4 feet off the western side, not
Of the
this
back side of the horse shed, not the town.
Okay, this is where the horse shed supposedly was,
Supposedly was.
and so you're saying it's 4 feet beyond that.
Correct. And that, the 4 feet was called for.
I was worried it was this way, but
No,
okay.
no.
All right.
You have a very small site here. The other thing that's going on, you have, and partially by your own actions, you have a road going around your building. I would call it a road de facto. Even though you've never done the 5 steps of laying out, surveying and opening for public travel, irregardless, when the town, it's sort of the, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a road. You plowed the road, you paved it, there's underground utilities, you've put up signage, and there's 24/7, 365 days a year, any member of the public, the delivery service, anyone drives around your building. By the placement of the do not enter sign there, everyone that enters what I call the tavern property is forced to exit. This, I'm not sure who put that, it makes a lot of sense that creates, if people exit out this side, it creates another factor for that intersection, and that's problematic, and that people are. It also, having walked around your property wearing an orange vest and being 6 feet tall, pedestrian travel and safety is also sort of there's not a crosswalk, there's no road markings, but you should talk to the Vermont City Elite, to your attorney, about whether you in fact have a road going around your building. And going through the process of making it a road gives you, I know that insurance companies would like it. Now, if there's an accident out here, probably if it's a fender bender, it's not going to be an issue. But if there's some serious damages out here, or God forbid an injury, I think attorneys and it's going to be attorneys and insurance companies are going to be wondering who's liable. If it's not, you have a number of uses that are forced to exit through your property. And there was a case in Brattleboro recently where there were 4, they found out because they hit a porch with a snowplow, that they found out they had essentially created roads without the proper procedure of the 5 steps that go through a petition, acceptance, and open for public travel. You don't have that, but yet it functions very much like a town road. It's very small, but that's something to consider. I would recommend talking to the Vermont City Vermont League of Cities and Towns, VCLT,
VLCT.
VLCT,
Mileage stuff.
and see what they think. But back to the horse shed. The 1986 survey done for the town recommended a boundary adjustment. I also recommend it here, or I actually state that nothing was ever acted on that I found.
Because, sorry to interrupt, but because I assume Shumlin has a survey of his land that has a line that is different than this one?
It's slightly different.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it's not showing on here unless
I really don't think the boundary is all. If you stand out there, there's the issue is the use, all of the traffic driving through there. The right-of-ways, need to be dealt with from a legal standpoint more than where is the boundary. I don't think you're going to put up a fence and stop people from. You've acquiesced to, it's town property. Who would think twice about whether they can get to their apartment by driving through the town office property? But I think you've essentially allowed a road to exist without going through the standards, the standard practice. What else? There was something. While we're on the issue of roads, the right of way in front of your building here is Kimball Hill used to cut off pretty much right in front of the town offices here prior to the Maple Gray walkway and the reconfiguration of that. Have I been around longer than you guys?
Yes.
The frontage, you have Kimball Hill Road as a portion of your frontage. That the state realigned the road when the Maple Gray walkway was put in. I believe that was when this intersection was reconfigured. That hasn't been adjusted in any way. I'm guessing that the state is reluctant to give up any rights in there, that any other planning or future use of changes in that intersection, they might want that. You can see that in the front there.
Right there.
I don't think that's an issue one way or the other. It's a town property abutting a state highway. But I guess the reason I bring that up is if the state was to come through and resurvey Route 5, it could be different. But it's going to have to work with the town to make that happen. It's unlike a private property where they would have gone through the process of either giving up the land or doing a taking. But because you're a town entity, I don't think they dealt with it one way or the other.
Okay.
So my next step is to mark the corners, which is something I can do next week. Oh, your shed out here. Anybody know when that was built? It's got a concrete block foundation.
Right.
Leads me to think it's sometime in the early 1900s. But that's over the line with the church.
It looks like our.
And that's interesting because it's no longer a church.
Right.
It's no longer owned by a
No, it just transferred.
It just
just transferred,
Yeah.
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 I guess I need to get that book and page. I'll talk to the town clerk.
How far over the line is it?
Not much at all. It's probably in the foundation. I'm willing to guess it's in the cinder block foundation.
So we don't quite own all the parking space over there.
You don't.
Okay. And some of our lawn out front here is not our lawn.
Right. And right outside here, you're
Right.
a little over 8 feet
Yeah.
from the corner. And again, that if you lay out a road, you can put in parking.
Good luck with that, folks.
Yeah.
Lay
Well,
the
that's
road.
what I say. There's a number of cases where towns have been held responsible for a road that they were maintaining, but they never ever went through the process. It just evolved
Right.
into what it is.
Yeah.
And it's complicated here because it's actually town land. It's not just a matter of people driving.
I mean, that's one of our main responsibilities is laying out roads. Maybe we should do that. So what are we doing here today?
So, Tom's presenting this survey
Yeah,
because we needed this on record for renovation of town hall.
yeah,
So we could do site planning, or site work. And again, it was done in 1986 and never got recorded, so we're doing it now. And he's brought up some valid points that the select board need to consider moving forward.
And on that point of it not having been recorded in '86, I'm going to bring the recordable copy in and give it to the town clerk
Okay.
and make sure it gets put in the vault.
so I have a motion here about recording it or tabling it. So are we,
So if he's bringing the original 1986, which is the same as this one, correct, Tom?
Not exactly. It did not turn out to be a retracement survey. I found one piece of physical evidence that was not found in the 2 previous surveys.
Okay, so on that note, if he records the 1986,
Oh, we can't, is that what you had just asked before?
Yeah.
You can't record it. It needs a valid signature
okay,
and seal, and that surveyor's retired,
all right.
so.
So we are recording this one.
This
because
is what
will
and
be
we
the
wanna
survey
record
of
that.
record.
we want to record that, we want to make a motion to record that today, and then we can talk about boundary line adjustments at a later date when
Yeah,
other
because the
landowners
road-
here.
The roads, yeah, this is a valid, survey.
Okay.
So, and Tom will put his stamp on it, sign it, we can
Record it.
record it,
Okay.
and then we can look at the road situation.
Sounds like fun.
Can you tell me what year in 18 whatever, they said there was a horse barn?
I've looked at some aerial photos of this area, and I want to say there was a stable behind this building until 1962.
But when was the like 4-foot thing?
Oh, 1871.
Thank you.
It's noted on, I have a lot of deed references
Yeah,
on the plan.
there's another
The
page
other
with,
page has all the deed references
Oh,
on
it's
it.
this one.
So, I take that back, 1878, if I read that correctly.
Thank you.
Eileen, can I step back for a moment?
Yeah,
Maybe I would almost recommend that we table recording until Mr. Shumlin reviews this survey.
okay.
Make sure we're all on the same page.
I think,
Yeah.
yes, the
Okay.
abutters need to be aware, and, whether they agree or not,
Right.
then that will be a different conversation. But before we record this, we need to have a conversation with them.
Okay.
So let's hold off on recording. We are gonna table.
Okay, but we don't need to make a motion on that, do we?
No.
Okay,
No,
all right.
so we have the survey, we need to take some extra steps.
Okay. All right.
So, I'm not sure if you have more questions for
I
Mr.
don't,
Wagner.
I may have some public comment. Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, first, I would suggest that our town manager is right, because presenting people with a fait accompli is not exactly going to promote good, not likely to promote good relations. One other point, and then a question to the surveyor. This matter of when roads were laid out and how they were laid out, I happen to have been following for personal reasons, but a really interesting case is the various ones involving the Payable family in the town of Vernon, where the courts have gone both ways on the question of whether the road was ever laid out or not. So basically what I'm suggesting to you is that you receive everything that the land surveyor has validly raised be carefully looked at by our town attorney as to the pros and cons, given the rather contradictory jurisprudence that I happen to know is out there, not as a lawyer, but as one for various reasons who's been following this issue around the state. My question to our surveyor, perhaps two questions. The first one is, I understood you to say that the photograph showing the horse shed is somehow unreliable?
Yes, in my opinion, the scale is too small. If we were talking about a fence line of hundreds of feet long that you could clearly see in a photograph, that I'm not willing to use an aerial photo for something. Again, it was a 1941 USDA photograph. They're neither rectified or orthometrically corrected. So you're really looking at a photo without any, it's the perspective of the angle of the camera that's going to give you your, what would look like the building. It's, in my opinion, it's simply too small. There are photogrammetrists that surveyors use. I have been involved in cases. The photogrammetrist will be more than willing to get involved in the case, but in my opinion as the surveyor, I think the scale and uncertainty of what you're looking at, the eaves of a building, the walls of a building, or the shadow are too unpredictable in that type of aerial photograph. The orthometric photos that are produced by the state of Vermont, which are available online, are very useful and can be what's the layman's term? They can be laid on the ground with some accuracy. I looked at a 1942 aerial photograph that I found online, and it was even difficult to see what you were picking out there. We're talking about 1 to 2,000 aerial photograph, and we're talking about a 4-foot difference behind the building. I commend Southern Vermont Engineering for their efforts in 1986, but in my opinion, it's not a viable use for something so small, if you think about the area back here. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I'm supposed to address the chairman. Mr. Chairman, I thank the gentleman for his expert explanation. It turns out that I had misunderstood the nature of the photograph. I had understood that it was a conventional photograph as we might have taken standing on the ground, and it is not. But thank you for an excellent explanation.
Thank you. Janelle?
I was just gonna make a comment that I was on the select board at the time when we were doing that intersection and the Maple Gray walkway, and in my mind, I have that it took the state, I may be exaggerating, but I don't think I am, 7 years from the time that we first put in the application till it got done. I'm surprised that they didn't figure out that little corner there at the time.
You know, it is shown on the highway maps.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
as far as there is a road still there.
yeah, oh,
But it's
okay.
never been thrown up,
Oh,
as we say in Vermont.
yeah,
But it's just part of that lawn
no.
out there. And I didn't research it related to the tavern property, but I didn't find any relinquishment of the land. Near intersections, the state's unlikely to do that. And since it was a town road, I would suggest that the town keep whatever they have there if there's any future changes to that intersection.
Well, it's a much better intersection, even though what we heard on the select board was that people are gonna be dying there every day when you make that change in that intersection. That's what we heard all the time.
It was almost a roundabout.
It was a terrible, and people were going every which way whenever they wanted to, and yeah, it was a mess.
Any other public comment? All right. Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
For your,
Thank
And
you.
you'll see me out here next week.
excellent.
Setting some pins, but just want to leave these here with Karen.
Thank you very much, Tom,
You know
for all
what?
your work.
I'm gonna take one of these and see if I
Okay.
can find Mr. Shumlin
Okay,
and give him a copy.
that would be great.
All right.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good night.
Thank you. All right. Next up, Fuss and O'Neill River Road over East Putney Brook Road report.
Where's Morgan's packet?
Want to share my packet?
Sorry about that. So in your, is a report. So Fuss and O'Neill, there was grant money to do this site visit and inspection of Stella's Hole, which is off of River Road,
Also known as the Puddle.
the
I
puddle.
didn't know it was called Stella's.
Yeah. So it's $7,500 to do an engineering study on this culvert, and in your packet is the result of that inspection. And there are alternative options for either doing nothing, doing like minimal work, or doing like some substantial, culvert replacement. So I brought it to your attention I don't expect any action tonight, because I would like the select board to read through the report. I would recommend that we have somebody from this company speak to the select board about the findings. I've been told there is money from the federal government, and then there's, so 80% from federal funding and then 20% from a different funding stack. If the select board were to consider moving forward with any of these options. So I have not been to the site to look at it. Highway Department has not seen this. I have sent the report to them, but have had no comments on it yet. I just got this on Monday.
Yeah.
Although it says March 6th on it anyway.
Maybe they meant May.
Maybe they meant May, yeah, that would make more sense.
Maybe they forgot to change the date.
So again, this is a major project.
Yeah.
And it does have some impact because there is a retaining wall there. And right now it's, it's eroding away a little bit. Again, I have not been to the site, but Conservation Commission will probably want to be involved in this if it moves forward. But again, we need more information.
Yeah.
I would like you to read the report and I can put it on the agenda.
I think it'd be good to have somebody from the company explain their, so we can ask them questions about the different options.
Yeah.
My first thought is that we wouldn't want to change the makeup of the hole if possible,
Right.
but maybe that's not possible.
And I would recommend too, before the next meeting, that we all, like separately or together, go down and look at this. Just so you have a bird's
Good
eye
day for
view.
swimming.
Yeah, maybe.
Water is
No.
So, would you like it on the next agenda or would you like it on?
Probably ought to see what their schedule is and then figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me do that. I'll give them some options and then whatever day is better for them. And I expect they're gonna zoom in, not be here in person.
So,
Okay, so I will ask the question and see if we can get a presenter.
any public comment? Mr. Fairman?
Chairman, I have read the report, which recommends alternative 3A, where the cost is north of $1 million for this project, apparently in the range of 1.3 to 1.5 million. So my question to our town manager is, about how much of that do you figure the town of Putney would have to raise and appropriate on its own?
My understanding is 80% is federal and then the other 20% would come not from the town, but a different source. So 0 is what I'm expecting,
Thank you.
but
For culvert replacement?
yes.
What source is that?
It's in this report someplace.
Read it.
You didn't read it?
No, I did
Yeah.
read it, but I don't remember seeing that. I will
Yeah.
reread it for that.
Oh, you know something? You know where that came from? It came from an email from Mr. Rhodes to me. So,
I can ask you that offline.
hold on. No. The question was asked and, let me
I'm
see.
asking you for.
Oh, I guess it's not in there either, so. Oh, yeah, here it is. So, federal funding opportunity for culvert replacement work related to androstomus fish species, shad and sea lamprey.
Okay.
This funding would pay 80% of the cost for final design and construction. CRC and Vermont Fish and Wildlife would be willing to help on the 20% match. CRC can not apply for this
So
grant.
it's fish migration. Okay.
Yes,
So your
Um,
disappear.
Yeah.
so, but we know how funding is right now. It is, it could be there today and gone tomorrow. We have some more data to collect and do some more research before there's any sort of commitment.
Yeah.
And, understanding the structure of the retaining wall over there and what the impact could be. I think it's important that we,
The railroad might, the railroad might want to be in on that too.
right, because, Boston and Maine Railroad is
Yeah.
mentioned in here.
Yeah.
So it's a bigger conversation, but I wanted this
Mhm.
to be presented to you.
Okay.
I needed that to be on your plate.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other public comment, Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, I should mention, the railroad, our town manager has alluded to the railroad, and, which is New England Central now? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, they change the name every once in a while. Because I happen to know that, because the railroads were there before the highways were, interrupting rail service for more than a very limited time, measured in hours, can result in huge fines. So if in fact we're going to be doing anything that actually involves the railroad itself, we have to be very careful.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I was thinking more about the changing the flow of the river would impact any structures downstream of it. So they should be in on the conversation.
Right.
All right, moving on to Windham County Sheriff's Office contract renewal.
So in your packet is the renewal contract for fiscal year 27, July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2027. So there's no increase in the contract. It remained the same, $130,000 for the fiscal year.
Yeah, you did that for us too, Londonderry.
Yeah. So my recommendation is if we are satisfied with their service for the select board to move forward for the contract for policing services.
I'll make that motion. I move to execute the contract with Windham County Sheriff's Office for the fiscal year July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027 in the amount of $130,000 and authorize the town manager to sign.
Second.
Any public comment? Mr. Fairman?
A question to our town manager, Mr. Chairman. In case anyone is unaware, Sheriff Anderson has received legislative authorization to move forward with his pilot project on regional policing in Windham County, provided by the Windham County Sheriff's Office. My question to the town manager is, does that have any implications on this contract? In other words, for example, could the contract be revised partway through the year because he's moving into something else? Or are we sure that we're going to be as we are for this year, and whatever is new will happen after that?
Yeah, so this contract will stay in place. I think it's gonna take at least 2 years before. No? Jeanette's shaking her
Isn't
head.
there a date? I thought it was in 2027 that that things were gonna start moving on that.
Things will start moving the moment you get a letter from the sheriff, probably within 2 weeks, and can appoint someone to the governance
The governance,
council.
yeah, but then the governance, they have to come up with
Right.
a lot of stuff before.
Right, but so there won't be any funding until your fiscal year of 27, 28, whatever,
Right.
however you call that. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
taking 2 years,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah, because I mean, the county would have to, the county would, because it's gonna be a county assessment.
It's going
So
to
the
be.
county would have to integrate it into their budget. So the actual mechanism of the entire thing wouldn't be through the duration of this contract.
No,
No,
No.
it would not, but.
But it's really exciting that
It
you
is
have that.
very exciting,
Yeah.
right? So you need to start thinking about who you're gonna appoint. And,
and I want to point out too, and I'm glad you brought that up, when the letter does come, it will specifically ask for a select board member.
Mhm.
So that is something, and then they're asking for a representative from every town.
and the reason it says it has to be a select board member came from BLCT. They felt very strongly that if you're going to have this other governance council establishing budgets that impact the towns, that it needs to be members of the select board who are already working on your town budget that are representing, so you know the impact that it's going to be. I think that was brilliant of VLCT to suggest that.
That makes sense, because the only other opportunity we have to affect that budget is to elect assistant judges. Because
Right, well,
they're the only other ones that are elected, and they have full control of the budget, so.
Right, and this will
So,
be a
yeah.
completely separate assessment
No, I know that,
that won't be part of the county budget.
but they'll have to put it, well, no, I think it goes to anyway, it goes to the assessment.
Well, the other problem with that is, and this can be brought up in governance meetings, is the county needs to get their budget
Yes.
done when municipalities get theirs done.
Good luck
What
with
they
that.
need to do is get their budget publicized.
Yes.
They've got the budget done, but they just don't get it sent out. Don't ask me why. That's not my anyway. But anyway,
We didn't get our assessment until May.
I know, the budget was done in January.
Anyway.
After ours was completed and approved.
So your motion on
Um,
Oh, motion, yeah, what are we doing? I already
You
made
made
the
a
motion, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Alright,
Next up, education property tax list value adjustment request.
alright, this one's a little complicated, but I'm gonna say Kim Monroe, our town treasurer, is on top of, finding money like me, and I have to thank her. So we did have an appraisal appeal,
right,
which was granted to the property owner. The education tax was paid on the full value, not the reappraised value.
the agreed upon value, you mean?
What was that?
Are we talking about the appeals, the one that settled?
Yes,
Okay.
the one that settled. So there is a total of $15,138.10 that the town potentially can request. Well, we're gonna request it back, and whether or not state grants it to us, that's another thing. Because it's time sensitive,
Mhm.
and it should have been done like the end of the year. We were not aware of that. The court settled in December. We didn't get the notification until like March. And Kim's like, well, wait a minute, we paid all this education tax on this value,
Mhm.
and now it's this value. We gave back money.
Right.
Why are we not getting back from the education tax? So, the process is for the select board, I gave you the statutes in the packet. There's a list value adjustment request, and the request has to come from the select board. And that's why it is in this meeting for a vote from the select board, whether you wanna try to recoup this $15,138.10.
Absolutely.
And we will do our best. There is a form, we can fill that out for you, send it over to the state of Vermont. I already have a timeline of all the events from when it started out an appeal. I have to pull my emails where I was requesting, where's the
Where's this going?
documentation.
Yeah.
So I will get that together, we'll fill out the form, send the documentation and see what happens.
Okey doke. So I move to authorize the treasurer to seek reimbursement of education property tax in the amount of $15,138.10 by means of the state of Vermont list value adjustment request.
Second.
Any discussion, public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, folks.
Good work, Kim.
Yes, we'll keep you posted on that too.
Alright, select board old business, Alice Holway Drive and housing development status.
So I put this on the agenda. Alice Holloway for a short period of time was reduced to a one-lane road. That was for the purpose of putting curbing in for the sidewalk. It since has been retracted, the fencing, and it's back to like 2 lanes. I tried to find out when they were gonna pour concrete and maybe when that fence would be removed. We don't have a date for that, and I do know there's an open house on June 25th,
June 25th, yeah.
and some folks are moving in
Next week.
next week. So we're trying to monitor this, it's like a moving target. And again, at the time I put this item on the agenda, it was a one-lane road.
Things move quickly over
So-
there.
And that was not, approved by this board,
Yeah.
but it has since widened, so I think we're okay with that for now.
So do we have to do any change it back since next week they're gonna occupy 6 apartments? We had it closed for construction?
6:20. Oh, well, I think they're still gonna be constructing.
Right, but they're gonna have to,
Well, they'll have to let those people in, obviously.
Right, so I think it's a meeting, with the project manager and, our contact from Windham Windsor Housing Trust.
Yeah.
Lenny, Howard and I can, find out exactly what might happen. I think it's gonna get congested. The other thing too, the paving's not done. In the payables today, I should have mentioned this, Green Mountain Power, so the transformer.
Yeah.
We had to pay for the transformer before they can even start the work, so hopefully that'll get started next week. So there's gonna be, stuff continuing to happen over there in that area,
Yeah.
so.
I don't think we have to do anything, but it would be nice if they consulted with at least you before they did things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just, I guess that's a conversation between you and the project manager.
Alright, I will report back.
public comment on the Alice Holway Drive housing. Mr. Fairman.
Mr. Chairman, to clarify, the section that was down to 1 lane was the east-west section from the curve to Route 5. And at the Route 5 end, there was a sign that said construction vehicles only. So chances are that there was really no danger to the public there because they weren't supposed to be coming through from that end anyway.
Thank you. All right, if we're good with that, moving on to the Windham County Humane Society contract renewal.
So this is back in the packet. I did ask the question. Ashley Pinger, Animal Control Officer from Windham County Sheriff's Office, said she had a lot of questions.
Yeah,
So other towns were questioning the same thing.
right.
she does not see any issues with it, and actually her words were, it's more accurate and detailed for what is expected and can be delivered of both the Humane Society and the towns.
Okay,
So
so she's aware of the changes and
yes.
it works for her. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Great.
Then I move to authorize, I move to execute the contract with Windham County Humane Society for fiscal year July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027 in the amount of, is that really right? $1,125?
Yeah, it went up.
Okay, and authorize the town manager to sign.
Second.
Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, operating principles of the select board.
And you talk about this too? No.
We can skip it if you want.
So I had legal counsel review this document. He recommended some changes, which I have put in here. And technically, it's not a resolution, it's a guiding principle. The other thing too that legal counsel had asked, not knowing the origin of the original document, which was from Middlebury, Vermont, from a previous town manager, he didn't, quite understand. The other thing too is that Middlebury is chartered, which some of the language in the original document probably fit for that town, but not for Putney. So Larry has made some changes, so the town manager does not have full responsibility. The question to the board is whether or not you would like Larry to go through this, review it, and make any further changes.
I mean, it's a guiding principle. It's a informal memorandum of understanding between us and you and us, between ourselves, of our role as select board members. That was the reason for it.
Correct.
That's why we started it.
Correct.
So I don't think we need to sweat the language any further.
Okay. He did review it, and he suggested the changes that are in here now. And if you're okay with it, if you want to move it forward, you can.
Yeah, I'd just noticed though that on the last page, on the signature page, it says the foregoing resolution, and since it's not a resolution,
Yep.
we should take that out. Maybe take out all of that, just say we adopted it on this day.
Okay.
I feel good about it. We all
Yeah.
talked about it and just wanted to make sure if there wasn't anything glaring. I think
Yeah.
I feel good about moving forward.
Motion to accept it.
I make a motion to adopt the operating principles of the select board with the changes noted.
Second.
Any public comment? Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, these operating principles of the select board were created by the town of Middlebury that has a legislative charter governing it, in addition to Vermont statutes governing municipalities in general. The town of Putney does not have a legislative charter and therefore is governed by Vermont statutes, including 24 VSA Section 1233, Town, City, or Village Managers' authority of select board states, in all matters he or she shall be subject to the direction and supervision of such a select board. 24 VSA Section 1237, Town, City, or Village Managers' examination of department states, the select board may cause the affairs of any town office or the conduct of any officer or employee thereof to be examined. Clauses 2A and 2B of these operating principles of the select board limit our select board's broad statutory authority over our town manager and over our municipal government. Elected to fulfill in full your broad authorities over our town of Putney that Vermont statutes cited and quoted above have specifically authorized to you, have you and your colleagues any authority in Dillon's Rule of Vermont to limit these authorities with these operating principles of the Select Board? Specifically, leadership focus is primarily on questions of long-term strategic planning directed toward the welfare and betterment of the community, limits your direction and supervision of our town manager. Recognizing and supports the administrative chain of command, no matter what, limits your causing to be examined the affairs of any town office or the conduct of any officer or employee of our town of Putney. My letter to you that I'm about to hand you considers this question. I have attached the minutes of the original Town of Putney Selectboard annual retreat that are posted online. I know that our town attorney did not address clauses 2A and 2B, which therefore may be open to legal questioning. And I have drafted my letter so that this can be done if necessary.
Thank you.
Good.
Oh, I get two.
Thank you, Mr. Fairman.
You're welcome.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next up, executive session under 1 VSA 313(1). After making a specific finding that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or person involved at a substantial disadvantage. A, contracts. I believe we're doing two different things, and I will recuse myself from the first or second, however we
order that.
do it.
Sorry. I make a motion to go into executive session under 1 VSA 313(1). Contracts.
Giddy up.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Got that. So it is 7:27. We have come out of executive session and we have two motions. The first one Eric has recused himself from, so I'll just go ahead and read it. I move to cancel the mowing contract for AJ's Landscaping and Management LLC and enter into contract with McGowan Property Maintenance for mowing services through October 30th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Call Eric back in.
Now he's all hot.
Don't blame him.
You have to end the meeting.
We did the first one.
You could have.
Well, we did yours first, so that's okay. I'll
There's
do
the
it.
motion.
Okay. So the second one is I move to award the contract for legal services to Monahan Safer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next meeting, June 24th. And can I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.